Hey, JJ Peller here. Last year I hosted an event for personal growth and professional development for about 2 hours. We called it Pursue Your Passion, and it was very well received, had some great feedback from everybody who attended. And I just want to share with you in 3 different parts that specific training. I think you'll gain a ton from it, and I really hope that it serves you well, especially as we're almost a full month in. This year's already flying by. So I want to make sure that you maximize your potential this year, achieve your biggest goals. And to do that, I truly believe we have to best position ourselves by feeding our minds, strengthening our skills, and just learning the things that can help propel us forward even faster. So I'm just encouraged that hopefully this training video will be very valuable for you. So let's, without further ado, jump on into it. And they'll be in 3 parts because it was a 2-hour seminar, but I want to share with you in smaller chunks. So this is part 1 of Pursue Your Passion live event. Hope you enjoy it. Comment below. Let me know what you think.
How's everybody feeling today? I haven't even done anything. You're clapping. That's so awesome. All right, see you later. No, I'm so pumped to be here. This is so exciting. And my mom told me as I stood over there, as she was checking people in, she said, "Great job. I really like everyone." So clearly it's a great group. And here's the reason that I'm absolutely pumped to be here, because of the kind of person that you are. You decided to show up on a Saturday morning. I know most of you didn't want to. You told me to start at afternoon sometime. But you're here nonetheless. So I'm so excited to have the opportunity to serve you, because you're that kind of ambitious person. You're a hungry individual. You're thirsty to do more, become more, achieve more, and pursue your passion. And you're excited to go after more in life so that you can experience more. But not just for yourself, right? Because you recognize as an individual what happens when you become more. You can serve more value to even more people. And I think that's where the real juice of life comes from, isn't it? When you can find a way to improve yourself enough that you have even more fun, more excitement, more passion, maybe even more freedom, hopefully more freedom in the life that you're living. So I'm very excited to be able to spend time with you. And I recognize that this idea of time is pretty important, isn't it? Time is one of our most important resources, if not the most important resources, because we can't get it back. Once you spend it, it's gone. So you intentionally made the choice to spend a couple hours with us here today to improve yourself, to learn some things, or maybe just say, what's this crazy guy about? What does it mean to pursue your passion? Maybe some of you said that, I'm not sure. Yeah, Jeff did. So what I want to do, what my mission is today, is just serve you as much freaking value as I possibly can in the best way that I know how. So I want to do everything I can to serve you, to give my guts to this thing today for the next 2 hours, to play full out, to serve you in the best way I know how. Now, I want to do that for 2 reasons. Number 1, to respect your time and the fact that you showed up. And number 2, to respect and honor my time, because this is something I love doing, and I know that I think you're going to get something out of this today. So, you have a couple options, and I think the fact that you showed up today tells us which option you're going to choose. But option number 1 is, all right, let's just play it cool, see what happens, see what this thing's about, and just kind of kick it back. Maybe take a couple notes. You could do that. But what I'd offer to you or suggest to you is, if you want to get even more out of our time together, if you want to honor your time even more, then there's a way that you can get even more out of this time that we're going to spend. And that, my friends, is by also being playful and outrageous and crazy. Because if you're crazy, you'll be more like me. And I think you'll have more fun. I think you'll get a lot more out of our time together if you're that way. So, if you are willing to be a little bit outrageous, crazy, playful, fun, yell back some answers, say yes. Yes. Say yes. Yes. Awesome. So here's the thing. I was just in Colorado 2 days ago talking with a group of managers for a company that hired me to speak out there. And the way I started my conversation with them was, listen, you didn't sign up for the JJ Peller seminar. You showed up to your job today, and I showed up on your agenda. I get it. You didn't choose to be here. This is a little different, isn't it? You chose to show up. You chose to spend your time. You chose to buy a ticket. And you chose to be here. So another way that I can do my best job to serve you in the best way I know how is to really better understand a little bit of your perspective on why you might be here today. So tell me, what's the reason you showed up today specifically? What outcome are you looking for? What result are you hoping to gather, create from your time that's spent here today? Tell me. Learn. Motivation. Beautiful. Learn in what capacity? Learn just some ideas, any kind of knowledge you can bring to the table.
Anything to help me
Grow. That's the kind of mind. Give it up for Steve. Yes. I love that mindset. Why else? Tell me why you're here.
increase service to others.
So that you can find a way to increase service to others, so that you can find a way to become more, contribute more, learn more, feel motivated enough to serve even more people, even more value. Is that exciting? Serve more people, more value? Why else?
Pursue my passion.
Woo, baby! He got it! Now you lead me, we didn't talk about this, did we? But you lead me to my next point. What the heck does it mean to pursue your passion? Good question, Wade. Oh, no, you didn't ask that. You just said you want to pursue your passion. It was, that's right. Listen, could it mean I'm going to quit this job I hate and go do the work that I love? It could. It could. Absolutely. But I think more broadly, and maybe even more powerfully for you as an individual, pursuing your passion is about finding a way to create the kind of life that you want to live. Learning enough, feeling motivated enough that you can go after and create any kind of life you want, that you can free yourself to do the kind of work that you enjoy. Not just the work, not just the career, but also how do you show up in your relationships? What kind of relationships do you have? With your friends, with your family, your spouse, significant other, kids? I think pursuing your passion is really about living an extraordinary, fun, playful life. Do you agree with this, yes or no? So one thing I love doing, one thing I have a great opportunity to do is, in the work that I do and all the different kinds of work that I do, is seek out really successful individuals. And if I go to events, I'm trying to find the people that have been extremely successful in business and life, in any area of life, and I want to pick their brain. Because the best way we can grow and learn and improve is to get more information from people who have done it, who have been there before, right? So anytime I'm around somebody that I see as successful, whether it's business or life, I say, tell me the secret sauce. Like, come on, man, what's it take? How'd you get so successful? So I happened to be at an event, and Stu was there, and we were chatting a little bit. And to say he took it to the next level is an understatement, because what you find out, if you do know the story, is that they started from the back of a napkin in a garage to now serving companies and municipalities their product around the entire world. So from my perspective, that's pretty dang successful, at least in business. But specifically, I want to know, how were you so successful in business? Like, what does it take, Stu? Give me the secret sauce. He knew I was being a little playful, but he knew the essence of my question. He said, JJ, as high-tech and automated as our business has become, as high-tech and automated as this entire world has become, business is today and always will be about people. Business is today and always will be about people. And it's true for life too, isn't it? Life's about people. Life's about our connections, our relationships, whether they're at work or at home or our friends. Life's about relationships. Life's about people. So, if he's suggesting business, and like I'm suggesting here, life is about people, wouldn't it make sense to figure out how we can connect more effectively, more powerfully with the people in our lives? Whether they're at work, we need to make connections to grow our business, or to serve our organization, our clients, or to connect better with our family and our friends so we have better relationships and live that passionate, exciting, fun life. Shouldn't we find a way to connect more effectively, more powerfully with the people in our lives? I would offer to you that people are our most important resource. So let's keep that in mind as we have this conversation for the rest of the day. Now, what I would also suggest to you is that when people are our most important resource and we're working on our communication, we're practicing our communication, it's because the quality of our life is a direct reflection of the quality of our communication. It's true, isn't it? Can you connect with someone as effectively as possible if you don't have the skills necessary? And you can build relationships, certainly, but wouldn't it be exciting to build even stronger relationships? Yeah. So a lot of what we're going to talk about today is based on this idea of effective communication. How can we improve our ability to communicate more effectively with more of the right people? Now, as you can see, I've drawn very beautifully up here. I've been working on my writing skills for the past few days in preparation for this. Here are the few things we're going to touch on today. Beliefs, goals, communication, maps. Get excited for that one. Yeah! And teamwork. We'll wrap up with teamwork. Now you might say, okay, what do beliefs and goals have to do with communication? Everything. Everything. And we'll touch on that here briefly in a moment. So here's what we need to do. We need to cover some things that are very simple, very fundamental, very basic. And you might say, dude, beliefs, goals, communication, yeah, kind of got it. I got that under control. Don't really need it. Seems pretty basic. And what we'll talk about a lot today will be very simple, very basic, very fundamental. Here's why. It's the simple things that we need to execute on to create an extraordinary life, to be able to produce the kind of results in our life that we want. Isn't it true? You know, there are a lot of people out there that are like, they do want the secret sauce. Like, dude, tell me, how do I become successful? Like, tell me that one thing I can do to just be extraordinarily successful in my life. And I think what we find is that it's about those simple, fundamental things that when we execute well on them, become better at mastering those simple things, that we produce greater results. How many of you are familiar with this individual named Tom Brady? Anybody heard of him? You don't know him? Okay, well, he's a quarterback for the New England Patriots. Do you know what a three-step drop is? Absolutely. In football, there's this thing called the three-step drop. You can either do it from under center, or you can be in shotgun, but either way, all you do is boom, boom, boom. Take three simple little. He's about to play in his 6th Super Bowl. 6, right? It's about to be his 6th Super Bowl. Or 7th. Either way, that's a lot of freaking Super Bowls. He's going to need his second hand if he wins, either way. Yeah. Do you know that Tom Brady practices the three-step drop? Practices the three-step drop. Just like a freshman in high school who's never played quarterback before in his life. Practices a three-step drop. So what I offer to you is that it is the fundamental basic things in our life that if we master those skills, will take us to the next level. Now, how many of you have heard the saying, knowledge is power? Say aye. Aye. Ooh, good. How many of you believe knowledge is power? Say aye. Aye. Here's what I would suggest to you. Heard this before? Knowledge is potential power. Knowledge is potential power. Knowledge is not enough, is it? Information is not enough. Shoot, if information was all I needed, I'd eat Cheetos, sit on my couch, and just look up on Google everything that I need to know, and I'd be fine. Knowledge is not enough. Information is not enough. We have to execute. We have to produce results by doing something to move ourselves forward. Isn't that true? So that's why we want to keep things simple. Because complexity is the enemy of execution. Complexity is the enemy of execution. So we want to make sure we keep things simple so that we're in the best possible position to actually take action. Does this make sense, yes or no? Yes. Beautiful, good. Y'all are awake for a Saturday morning. One of my favorite quotes is by a guy named Samuel Johnson. Not Samuel Jackson, the actor, Samuel Johnson, the author from the 1700s. He said, people need reminded more often than they need instructed. People need reminded more often than they need instructed. So, to wrap that portion up, what I'm saying is, it's going to seem simple, it's going to seem basic, but I know if you take something from today and actually execute on it, that is our goal. That is your mission. If I were to offer and suggest something to you to want to do after today or immediately after this time together, is to actually choose something that you're going to take action on. Now, how do we get ourselves to take action? How many of you are really good at taking action when you're in this kind of state? Yep, honey, I'll get right on that. Yes, sir. It's on my to-do list. Are you more likely to take action in this kind of relaxed, set-back state, or when you're in a peak state and you're like, yeah, let's rock and roll. I got this thing. Let's make it happen. Are you more likely to take action when you're in a low-energy state or high-energy state? Beautiful. Gosh, you guys are so good. So what do we need to do? And not only do you take action more effectively, but you learn more effectively, don't you? Don't you learn more effectively when you're engaged, when you're paying attention, when you're taking notes, when you're yelling back answers? What I'd offer to you is do that today in our time together. Yell back responses. Stay high energy. Even when you're sitting, make sure the people next to you are ready to rock and roll. Don't hurt anybody, though, because I don't think we signed waivers for that, just the videography. So here's what we're going to do. To make sure we're ready and to rock and roll and in a peak state, please, if you're willing, go ahead and stand up. You're going to want to set your notes down for this one, Aaron. Yeah, throw chairs. Whoa! Here's what we're going to do. Get ourselves amped so that we're going to take this energy. When we sit back down, we're still going to be excited and ready to rock and roll. Sound good? Yes or no? Yes. Woo, baby. Here we go. Awesome. So we're going to do what I call the yes clap. It's fun, I promise. Here's what you're going to do. Not yet. We're just going to start with a slow clap. When's the last time you did a slow clap, by the way? This morning. We're going to start very slow. We're going to build it up, and as you build up the speed, not yet, as you build up the speed, get higher and higher, faster and faster, you're going to feel that energy building inside of you, okay? Yes or no? Yes. Woo! Okay, we're good. And as we get to the peak of that clap, I'm going to say, 1, 2, 3. And you're going to say, yes, yes, yes. It's fun, I promise. Give it everything you got, and you'll enjoy it more. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, yeah. Okay, stay standing, though. Here's what I need you to do. Find a space where you can rotate all the way around like this. If you need to step over to the side, if you need to step up front, please do so. You can't hit a wall. You cannot hit a wall, or this exercise will not work out. You're going to rotate. So if you're like, oh, there's a wall there, this is not going to work for you, so you need to step forward. Like, oh, there's a person there, that's not going to work either. We got it? Okay. Again, we did not sign waivers, so please don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt yourself. Here's what we're going to do. Ready? Once you've got your space, put your feet shoulder width apart. And once you have your feet shoulder width apart, what you're going to do is imagine that you've cemented these things down to the floor for the duration of our exercise. It's only going to be a couple minutes, but do not move your feet. You won't get as much as possible out of this exercise. Here's what you're going to do. Your feet are planted. Raise your right or your left arm and point straight ahead. Whichever one you choose. And what you're going to do is rotate in that direction. Right arm's up, you're rotating right. Left arm's up, you're rotating left as far as you can. Go ahead. And once you've gone as far as you can, look out in the distance, down where you're pointing. Nope, if your right arm's up, go right. Tony, of course, of all people. Go right. Rotate as far as you can. Once you have that image burned in your mind, look where you're pointing, keep it memorized. Come on back to center. Put your arm down. Go ahead and close your eyes. Promise you'll be safe. If at any point in time you don't feel safe, you can go ahead and open your eyes. You know, I've done this exercise with a couple high school classes before, and like everyone peeks open one eye to make sure everyone's doing it. I'm like, listen, everyone's doing it, I promise. Okay? Everyone's doing this. So keep your eyes closed. Here's what I want you to do. Watch yourself, imagine yourself, feel yourself raising your arm and pointing out like you just did. Same exact arm. Don't actually do it, but feel yourself, watch yourself raising that arm. What you're going to do is you're going to raise your arm and you're going to start to rotate in that same direction. Don't actually raise your arm. Just watch yourself, feel yourself rotating in that direction that you just did. Rotate as far as you can like you just did, except this time what you see and feel yourself doing is rotating past that point, easily, smoothly, seamlessly past that point. You're going 2, 3, even 5 times past that point, easily, smoothly, strongly, moving past that point, even 10 times past that point. Now, just like an owl does, you watch and feel yourself turning all the way around 360 degrees, like an owl. You feel it. Once you've gone all the way around in your mind, go ahead and bring yourself visually back to center and open your eyes. Now, raise your arm like you just did. Rotate as far as you can. Whoa, what just happened? How many of you went farther than you did the first time? Say aye. Aye. How many of you went at least 10% farther than you did the first time? Say aye. Aye. Beautiful. Go ahead and take a seat and give yourselves a round of applause for being so amazing. There's your magic trick for the day. So what does this tell us? What does this show us? Yeah, slow clap. That was fun, wasn't it? Maybe we'll do it again before the time's over.
If you believe you can do it.
That's exactly right. So what does this tell us? What does this mean?
Visualize it.
How important is that?
Very.
So if in less than 60 seconds of focusing on this silly little movement of rotating, you went, most of you, if not all of you, said yes to rotating farther than 10% more, What if you took this exercise of visualization into other areas of your life? What could happen? 60 seconds, you went 10% farther. What if you visualize with how you interact with family, friends, with the people you manage, with the people who manage you, with your coworkers, before doing the yes clap? Could you drastically improve your results if you just spent 2 minutes a day focusing on this? Yes or no? Yes. You could, couldn't you? And I was down in central Indiana a few weeks ago speaking with a group, and a gentleman said, "This is awesome. I love this idea. I actually have a friend who practiced visualization in his driveway before he went into his house to see his wife and kids, because he knew he had a tough day at work. It was a challenge, and it was really wreaking havoc on his relationship with his family. So what he did is he spent 5 minutes in his vehicle in the driveway, visualizing, feeling himself showing up with more energy, showing up differently for his family. Absolutely transformed his life. Absolutely transformed his life because it transformed his relationships at home. So what if you found a way to intentionally spend time visualizing, feeling yourself showing up differently for other people in your life? Now, maybe you're a quarterback, I don't know, or play basketball. Could you visualize in sports too? Could you visualize getting your tasks done? There are a lot of different things that we can do with this simple little exercise called visualization. And I think this is a very important aspect to pull up. And maybe some of you have heard this. It's kind of like Pictionary, okay? You ever heard this before? Yes or no? Yes. Beautiful, few people. Maybe some of you can't see it past my fat head. That's probably the case too. Our thoughts become our words become our actions become our habits become our character becomes our destiny. Let me see again, how many of you have heard this? So, I can't take credit for this portion because Zach labeled it, but we call it the touchdown approach, okay? Because your thoughts lead to your destiny. Get it? TD, touchdown? Yeah. Your thoughts lead to your destiny, isn't it true? So what if we were more intentional with our thoughts on a regular basis? Now, I'm not here to say you can stop all thoughts, because doesn't it happen sometimes that we're like, what the heck are you thinking that for? Why did that just go through my brain? Right? Happens to all of us. Maybe not Jeff. But what if we started to focus intentionally on how we shape our thoughts, on which thoughts we focus on, which ones we allow to stay inside of us and act on? Thoughts become words, actions, habit, character, ultimately our destiny. Let me tell you a quick little story about an individual named Roger Bannister. How many of you heard the name Roger Bannister before? Say aye. Aye. You have? A couple times maybe. So to tell you Roger Bannister's story, we got to go all the way back to the year 1593 over in England. Because in 1593 in England, what were they doing? They were creating legislature for what we now know today as the 1 mile race. The distance for the 1 mile race. Now, your next question, of course, is why do you have to have legislature for the 1 mile race? Because they were betting on races. Anytime you have something you're betting on, you've got to have legislature in place to make sure everyone's betting correctly. So 1593, they create the 1 mile race, and that's how we know it today. Fast forward 352 years, the year 1945. Now think about it. If you're betting on races, that's competitive, right? So it's not like people are out there like, yeah, we love the 1 mile race, cool. Like, no, they're getting after it. They're going as hard as they can because they want to be the best. They want to win money. They want their teams to win money. So for 352 years, they're going as hard as they can, competitively trying to improve. 1945. Finally, we have one person hit 4 minutes in the 1 mile race. One person hits 4 minutes in the 1 mile race. Awesome. What do you do after you hit 4 minutes if you're a competitive runner? What do you want to do? Break that. Now your goal becomes, let's break 4 minutes. Now I'm going to be the first one to do it. Every single competitive runner out there who was close to that wanted to be that first person to break the 4-minute mile. But here's what we find. For the next 9 years, what do people do? Hit 4 minutes. Hit 4 minutes. Hit 4 minutes. Nobody's breaking the 4-minute mile. Until our hero of the story, Roger Bannister. May 6th, 1954, Roger Bannister steps up on the track in front of 3,000 people, and for the first time in recorded history, breaks the 4-minute mile. 3 minutes, 59.4 seconds. First person, 361 years of running this race, he's the first person to break it. Now, what's really cool about this story is, how did he do it? Because certainly he was a competitor, he was running hard, he was getting after it, right? Physically, he was practicing his running form and technique, etc. But what you've got to know about Roger's story is that he was not just a professional runner, he was actually also training as a junior doctor. He would go on to become one of the best-known neurologists in England. So what does that tell you about what he knew about the human body and the human mind? What was he doing differently than everyone else out there? Yes, he was training physically. He was running back and forth, maybe back and forth. I don't know. That's what I do, just as far as I go, man. But he was training his mind more effectively than anyone else. He understood that if he visualized himself breaking 4 minutes over and over and over again, that it was going to happen. So because he trained himself that way, when he showed up May 6, 1954, and he stepped on that track, game over. He knew it was happening, period, because he had seen it before over and over and over, and it was going to happen. And what did he do? He broke the 4-minute mile. First person, 361 years. How cool is that? It's pretty cool, isn't it? But what's even cooler about this story is what happens after. Less than 7 weeks later, 6.5 weeks later, a guy named John Landry breaks Bannister's 4-minute mile record. He breaks 359.4. Like, dude, could you not have given me more time to enjoy this thing that I broke after 361 years of having the record? Come on, man. Bless you. 6.5 weeks later, it's broken again. Less than 2 months later, both John Landry and Roger Bannister ran in the same race and both again broke 4 minutes. So what happens the next year? 5 more people break the 4-minute mile. The year after that, 6 more people break the 4-minute mile. That's the even cooler part of the story, isn't it? So here's what happened. What did Roger Bannister do for himself? He absolutely shattered the mental barrier. He broke it. That's how he was able to break the 4-minute mile, because he broke his own mental barrier. What else did he do for the dozens and dozens of people that came after him? He shattered their mental barrier. Where do we get most of our beliefs from? Tell me. Do we get them from our families growing up? From our parents? From our friends? From the people that we experience time with and spend time with? Especially as we grow up, do people tell us what we can and cannot do? Even if they don't intentionally say, you can or can't do this, do they tell you by their tone of voice or by the way they respond to your goals and your dreams and the things you want to accomplish? So maybe what we need to do is break that mental barrier for ourselves and whatever it is you want to go after. By the way, what's your 4-minute mile? What's that thing you want to have, do, achieve, experience, create, give, contribute? What's your 4-minute mile? Go ahead, write it down. Take a moment. Yes, Debbie?
I can't figure out what that one is.
It's okay.
You can have more than one?
You absolutely can. Absolutely. Nice shirt, man. Thank you. I heard. Thank you for coming.
Still, I'm
Thank
sorry,
you for
it's
coming.
only
It's
half
okay.
an hour.
And if you don't know it, it's okay too. I've been hired to speak somewhere before, and the person that hired me said, you know when you ask everyone to write down their 4-minute mile? Didn't have a clue. It's totally okay. It's absolutely okay. But maybe this is an impetus for you to say, if I don't yet know what my 4-minute mile is, maybe it's something I want to get focused on. Maybe there is one thing. Maybe there's more than one thing that you want to have, do, achieve, or experience in life. So we'd go on family trips growing up, and we'd go with the 4 of us, my older sister, my parents, and then my extended family too, my aunt and uncle and cousin. And the 7 of us would be in a van. This is my aunt, by the way. The 7 of us would be in a van, and we'd be driving down the road, and I was probably 10, 11, 12, maybe 13 at the time, so I was still a young type, still a little JJ. And we'd be driving, and all these cars are passing us, and my Aunt Cap would say, you know, we're racing here. We're in a race with everybody else out here. I said, well, tell my dad to speed up then, because we're sure as heck losing. Everybody's passing us, she said. But you don't understand the rules of this race. I said, what do you mean I don't understand the rules of this race? Like, if someone wins, someone loses. They pass us, they win. She said, no. Anybody that passes is automatically disqualified. Ah. So we're going to win no matter what, aren't we? Yeah! Pass us, baby! Do you have rules in your life that prevent you from winning? Or maybe that don't support and encourage you to be in the best possible position to win? Maybe let me ask it this way. Do you have rules in your life that allow you to be in the best possible position to win? Rules being these beliefs about what can and can't happen, about what's possible or not possible, about who you can connect with, who you can't connect with, about how you can approach a situation or not. Do you have rules that really support and encourage you, not just support and encourage you, but help you to be in the best possible position to win? If anybody passes us, they lose. They're automatically out. Do you have those kinds of rules in your life? Now, what I'd offer to you is that maybe now's the time, maybe not today, this morning, but at some point think, spend time writing, what are my rules? Because don't we have rules subconsciously too? Most of our rules are subconscious. We become very intentional and aware of a lot of our rules over time. But most of our rules that we react based on every single day throughout the week are subconscious. Things we've never intentionally looked at and said, yeah, do I have to respond that way? Do I have to feel this way about the way that person said this mean thing to me? Maybe it wasn't even mean. Maybe they just didn't know what they're talking about. So maybe spend time, not this morning necessarily, but spend time examining your rules and things you've set up in life to either put you on the fast track to win the race no matter what, or they're holding you back from winning. You think that would be helpful, yes or no?
Yes.
Boom. Gosh, we still have energy. I love it. Yes. I love you, Wade. So a 4-minute mile is like a goal, isn't it? It's like this extended version. Like, that's the thing way out there that I want to have, do, achieve, experience, become, contribute. And then we also have goals. How many of you have goals? Raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Beautiful. Anybody not have goals at this time? Not yet. Perfect. We're working on that, Cap. So why do you set goals? What do they do for you? Tell me. Help you manage your time. Because you have priorities, you know where you need to focus. What else? Why else do you set goals?
Motivate you.
Motivate you. Yeah. So it energizes you to take action because information and knowledge is not enough. You've got to actually do something. Bless you. Why else?
Hold you accountable.
What'd you say? Fulfillment. Because when you achieve that goal, you know you've done something. You know that hard work and that action that you've put into play has moved you somewhere, has helped you to make progress, and you know you've accomplished it. Accountability. Now I know where I need to spend my time. And when I'm motivated to take action, I'm getting it done. Because I can look at my journal every single morning. By the way, how many of you write down your goals? How many of you do not write down your goals? Let me write you something real quick for those of you who don't write them, and for those of you who just need reminded about why it's important that you do. How many of you have heard of the book Psycho-Cybernetics? And no, it is not a book about me. How many of you have? One? Anybody else? Two? A few? Three? So, Psycho-Cybernetics was a book written by a guy named Dr. Maxwell Maltz back in the 1960s. Dr. Maltz was I was going to say neurosurgeon, but that's not it. Plastic surgeon. He was a plastic surgeon. And he continually had people coming into his practice, his office, men and women, saying, you know, you need to do something about my face here, or something with my body, like I want to look better. And he would look at these people and he'd say, you are absolutely beautiful. Why do you want to change something about yourself? And so what he became very extremely conscientious and intentional about in his own life was, what do people think about in life? How do their brains operate? He had a lot of conversation around self-image and what confidence meant. And he believed truly that people physically looked perfectly beautiful, but because of something internal in their minds, they didn't view it that way. Now, I'm not here to talk about self-image and confidence necessarily, specifically with him, book Psycho-Cybernetics, because all of that conversation around self-image and confidence led him to start thinking more consciously about how do our minds work, how do our brains work, and he came up with this idea of Psycho-Cybernetics. Now, what does that mean? What he's saying, what Dr. Maltz is saying, is that our brains as human beings operate like computers. In fact, he said our brains are like servo mechanisms, like a missile. So you give a missile a target. You give a missile a target, and what does it do? It goes up, over, around anything it has to hit the target. That's how our brains operate. Now, certainly we're not just computers. We obviously, maybe some of you believe, are spiritual beings, but there's something to this, isn't there? So you have to know your target, and here's why. How many of you are familiar with the reticular activating system in your brain? Anybody? Yes. Yes. Heard this before, Lauren? The reticular activating system is a piece on your brain that essentially works as your gatekeeper. So there are literally hundreds, if not millions, of things going on around us right now that you could be paying attention to. But instead, hopefully, I think you're paying attention to what's going on up here. Like if you wanted to, you could hear Steve's pen click. You could notice Matt nodding his head. You could notice Zach giving me the finger back there. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It acts as your gatekeeper. So when you have goals, when you've written your goals down, which is why we want to keep them in front of us, to have our target, to notify our brain, hey, anything about this idea or concept or goal, please let through. How many of you remember the last time, or maybe first time, you bought your vehicle? Anybody? You remember that time? So how many of you had the same experience I did? I went, bought my truck. I was like, wow, this is really neat. Like, gosh, I'm going to be the only one with this thing. So cool. And you get on the road, and literally every other person has the same vehicle. Like, did you all go this weekend too? Yeah. That's your reticular activating system. Anything that means nothing to you will be blocked out. You won't notice it. But if something's important to you, if you've written your goals down and you know this is where I'm going, this is my target, I'm going to hit it, you can use your brain, you can use your system that's already in place to help you achieve whatever results that you want in life. Family, friends, professionally. We're also in Denver back in August, just for a quick little trip, and we're sitting in this coffee shop, actually called Fluid Coffee Bar. We're like, nice, we got one of these in Valpo. We were sitting there having coffee, and there was a gentleman and a lady, probably both mid-late 50s, sitting behind us. I wasn't really paying much attention to their conversation. And that was the time that I was starting to think about, what's my game plan going to be for doing executive coaching and leadership coaching for individuals? And I wasn't paying much attention to the conversation. I'll tell you their story very quickly and then tell you why I started tuning in. The lady apparently had lost her job because she worked for a company called Starwood Resorts, which was purchased by Marriott. And when Marriott took over, they eliminated 800 jobs from Starwood, and hers was one of them. This gentleman, similar situation, had recently happened to him, and she was a friend just trying to give some advice and thoughts. That's the context of their story, but I didn't know all of that until I started listening. The reason I started listening, because I heard this lady say, at least loud enough that my RAS said, let it through. You know what you really need to do? What I did, what worked out really well, is I got myself a life coach. And she helped me find a job and search out. I was like, Lauren's like, babe, over here, come on. But my RAS let it through. And all of a sudden I'm paying attention. Why? Because it was on my mind. It's pretty cool how that thing works. How many of you would agree that you've experienced something similar to this in your life? One other quick fun story. So this is a couple months ago. I was on the internet on a Tuesday afternoon thinking about what kind of person do I want to talk with? Ambitious people like all of you, excited people, people that want to become more, do more, achieve more. My next thing was, what kind of organization or line of work hosts national and regional seminars? Realtors, right? Because as a realtor, if you understand that a little bit, is yes, you might work for a large organization like Century 21 or RE/MAX, but you're your own boss. You are an entrepreneur. You're out hustling. You're going to make it happen. So you might have some resources and support, but it's on you to go make it happen. So you're very, very entrepreneurial. And I was excited by that. I was like, I got to talk to this group. So 2 companies came to mind that I had to look up. Number 1, Century 21, because my mom works there, because my friend Alex works there. Great company, large organization. I knew they had regional national events. So I got online, spent 10, 15 minutes looking up what they did around the country. I thought, okay, that's cool. I'll look at that later. Second one, RE/MAX. I looked up RE/MAX, spent 10, 15 minutes researching their website, what kind of events they had, where they were held, when they were. And I looked at some of their leadership people. I thought, okay, 10, 15 minutes, I got it. I'm going to speak for both these companies one day. So I'm going to make this happen. I said, but my next step is I have to be motivated to take action and do something because knowledge and information isn't enough. But I thought, you know what? Now I know the direction I'm going. I will spend time and energy finding a connection to this company at another day. This was a Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday morning, I'm sitting at my desk. My phone's face up. Starts ringing. It says Michael Burke. It's one of my fraternity brothers from back in school, and he was a senior when I was a freshman, so it had been at least 5 years since I talked to him. It's like, well, that's kind of interesting. Michael, what's up, man? Hey, Jay, what's going on? Catch up for a couple minutes. I won't go through a whole conversation. Catch up for a couple minutes, and then he says, I just saw a video of you on Facebook. I'm like, what are you doing, man? I told him a little bit about what I was doing. He said, oh, that's so neat. I would love to find a way to bring you in to speak with my team. I'm racking my brain. I just told you I haven't talked with him in 5 years. Like, I remember where he worked at a point in time. I just thought, as it dawned on me, Michael, do you work for RE/MAX? Yeah, I've got an office of about 20, 25 brokers down in central Indiana. I'd love you to come and speak with my team. I said, no shit, dude, because listen, I was just spending 15 minutes on the internet yesterday trying to figure out how I could connect with RE/MAX. He's like, well, that's perfect. So, what was it, 2 weeks ago? I was down there speaking with his group. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Now, am I suggesting that whenever you put thoughts and ideas and beliefs and goals, you're forming a mile out into the universe, that good things will happen? Yes, that's exactly what I'm telling you. It's exactly what I'm telling you. Am I suggesting that's going to happen the next day? Maybe not, but maybe. Maybe it takes time. But I think what you'll find, and maybe some of you already have, is that when you start to share your goals, good things happen. How many of you share your goals? How many of you do not share your goals? Raise your hand. Is there a reason? I'm just curious, very curious. Here's the reason I normally get. I don't know that anyone would want to support and encourage me. Someone might not care. Or, if I don't achieve my goals, I don't want to be held accountable. I'm not suggesting that's either of you, but sometimes that's the response I'll get, which are fine. I totally understand those. I've been in that position before. I was like, I've got bigger dreams I know what to do with, but I didn't want to tell people because I thought they'd think I was crazy. Well, come to find out, people think I'm crazy anyway, so it doesn't really matter at this point. What I would offer is that when you start to share your goals, good things can happen. Has anyone had this experience? Yes. You're just your hand was lingering up there. I didn't know if you had a question or comment. No, that's good. So what happens when you share your goals? What happens when you share your goals?
You're held accountable.
You're held accountable. What else? Do you generally, yes?
I find people encourage you.
Yes. Do you generally get support when you share your goals with people? Could there be people in your life right now today who have no clue what your goals are? Because you tell people, you tell some people, you don't tell all people. Are there people in your life right now today that could help you achieve your goals if you just told them what you wanted? You don't have to say, hey, help me. I think what you can find is you just share passionately the goals that you have, and people want to get on board. Maybe they don't, but just maybe they have a resource or access to a person or a contact or an idea or thought or time or energy or capital that can really help you propel your idea forward. You never know. What I'd offer to you is maybe, as I see some of you shaking your head, nodding your head, you know that it's the truth. Maybe if you started to do that more frequently, it could help you out a ton. Now, I'm not here to suggest what anyone believes religiously, but I do think that regardless of what you believe, the Bible's got some good ideas and some pretty good content. And again, I'm an amateur on it, but there's this one part in there, maybe you've heard it, where it says, ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and the door will be open to you. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. Now, does it say, ask once and somebody says no, say, all right, well, that didn't work. Knock on one door and if it doesn't open, well, guess you're screwed. Now, I think the essence is, if they had the extended edition, would say ask as many times as necessary to achieve the result that you want. Seek as long as it takes to get the outcome you desire. Knock on as many frickin' doors as you have to get your outcome. Would that be helpful, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what'd you think? I hope you sincerely enjoyed that. I hope you took a ton from it. I hope you had your notebook out and you were writing down things that really jumped out to you. So obviously, if you found it valuable, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love comments from you below. I'd love for you to email me and stay in touch. Encourage me with what you learned here, because as you share with me the best parts of what you got from it, I can really hone in on continuing to create content that will serve you going forward. So again, I really hope that you found value in that training, and keep your eyes open and subscribe if you haven't yet to make sure you get part 2 and part 3 that will come out in the next couple of weeks. So I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, have fun and be awesome.